Welcome to Beers with the Beards, celebrating and educating all things sports, one win at a time.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode 3 of Beers with the Beards. I'm your host, the Professor. We've got the Beard with us tonight, the Stache with us tonight. Everybody's in a good mood. We had a great weekend of football, college basketball, and in general calamity. So as per normal, we'll start with what we're drinking tonight. Beard, why don't you go ahead and start us off?
So I loved that drink I had yesterday or last week. Sorry, not yesterday. So I went back to the same spot and I found a beard beer.
Look at that.
Yeah, called Lager Roots, dude, an American lager.
Wow.
I also have these vintage cups. My grandpa, Spence's grandpa too, used to fly with the Rams. So he got these cups from like the 60s or 70s, and I got that. So
That's sick.
got to crack it in here.
So
The
sick.
greatest sound of all week for me. Oh, it's so good, dude. So look at that color. Oh man, today's gonna be a good day.
I don't think that you can drink any other beer on this podcast unless it has a wizard on it.
A wizard
I
beard.
I actually think that market's really small, so I don't know how many of those I'm gonna find, but we'll see. I'll start pasting wizards on top of beers, so it just looks like they're wizard beers.
There you go. How is it? How is it?
Oh, hold on. Smells good. Oh, that's good. That's good. I'm gonna keep that one in the repertoire.
I like it. All right, Stash, what do you got tonight?
I have got a Dallas, Texas local brew from Manhattan Project Beer Company called Necessary Evil. It is a Pilsner. Let's give it a little
Ooh.
pop.
Oh, dude, that might have been the best pop we've ever had.
Solid.
What's it like? Give us
Cheers,
a little taster. Yeah, give us a little taster.
It's great. It tastes like a nice Pilsner.
Nice.
Very nice. And
I know Boyd's very
have-
upset with me.
We don't need to air our dirty laundry here. I have a
Okay.
non-alcoholic from the Athletic Brewing Company, the Run Wild IPA. I also had a vintage glass. We didn't plan this tonight.
Ooh.
Damn. Ooh.
This is a Ken Griffey Jr., the Kid Memorial Mariners Cup collectible, I think. I don't know. I don't put it in the dishwasher. That was just not the pop. No.
I don't think a non-alcoholic could have a pop. I just don't think that's possible.
Yeah, it's
Let's
almost like
see.
the world just knows.
Yep.
Cheers, buddy. It's an
Not
IPA, so it's
bad.
going to taste like shit no matter what.
Not bad. No.
Okay.
I can ride with that.
We got to start having some bad reviews, or else Portnoy's coming after us. You know, we've got to be a little bit stricter with our grading schedule.
Well, I mean, I can
we gonna
give
start
this a bad
numbering 'em?
review in that I'm not getting drunk.
Let's number them. Going forward.
Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead. You want to start today?
No, I'm not ready. Next
we
week.
We got to talk about the scale. We got to talk about our
Okay.
scale.
I
All
mean,
right.
if it's anything like Portnoy, it's just made up, but onward.
Fair. All right. So we're going to start off with the question of the day. Last week, I asked you guys what you thought Pro Bowl tickets were going for. An unbelievably cheap ticket. Beard thought they should have been free, which I probably agree with. Although I do think it's going to be fun to watch the dodgeball challenge and the flag football. I have a little bit different one today in honor of the Kelsey Bowl coming up. Jason Kelsey, Travis Kelsey playing against each other in the Super Bowl. I wanted to know your favorite sports siblings, real or fictional. Stash, go ahead.
I'm going to be a cheater and pick a real and a fictional couple, so to
Ooh,
speak.
I love it.
For the fictional, I am rolling with, I don't know their last names, but Tommy and Brendan from the movie Warrior.
Ooh.
If anybody hasn't seen
Nice
that, that's
choice.
actually one of my favorite movies. Yeah. And then Real World, I feel like it's a cop-out to do the Manning brothers. So I'm going to sidestep that, and I'm going to roll with the Bosa brothers.
Ooh.
Good choice.
Did you
Joey
see
and Nick.
Did you see Nick punkin the Eagle fans this weekend?
I think it was the other way around.
Dude, you can't punk Nick Bosa, dude. You could try, but you can't punk him.
So, I mean, the Eagles fans got the last laugh. His girlfriend had to take him away to prevent violence. So, I mean, they didn't want that smoke, but from a verbal altercation, I mean, he had to pull out the "I can afford box seats, you can't." Like, that's
true. That's
uh,
kind of lame. You're right.
My dad owns a dealership. Like, that's
Okay, you know what? Because of that, I retract that. I'm going back with the Manning brothers. Fuck that shit. That's low T. Forehead team all the way. Let's go.
I think it was a good business decision on his part. But yeah, it was a great video. Beard, who you got?
Going back to his girlfriend, those shoes are ridiculous. If you have not seen that video, his girlfriend's shoes, it's like moon boots with heels on them, dude. I was like, what the fuck is that, man? I know she's so pissed. 10 years from now, they're going to be chilling. He's going to be out of the league, and she's like, I can't believe I got caught on camera wearing those boots. Like, that might be the fight that they have for ages, dude.
I'm looking this up right now.
Okay.
I heard somebody say they were like the Fembot boots from Austin Powers, and I was like, oh my god, that's so spot on.
It's like they took Britney Spears' costume from that one music video and just wrapped them around her feet. Okay, so I'm going to go real and fictional as well. Real, I had to go with the Eli and Peyton. Like, I don't think there is a better duo than them. The other one that is kind of interesting, if you've ever heard them in interviews, is Diggs. So Stephon Diggs and Trayvon. And then fake, and I'll fight anyone who tells me that this isn't a sport, but Hansel and Zoolander walking the runway, just throwing looks like no other. And they're not brothers, but I don't care. I love that movie.
You know what? I'm here for it.
They're brothers in spirit.
They're brothers in spirit, exactly.
So is modeling a sport?
Ooh.
Oof. I mean, yes. Because
if golf is, then modeling is.
Is power slapping a sport? Is Dana White's new sport
God.
power slapping a sport?
It's it's something. Have you guys watched any of that?
I have not. I hadn't even heard of it until just now. I'm still trying to find this bitch's moon shoes. It's Nick Bosa's girlfriend?
Yeah. Oh, you got to find the video. I'm sure she's got her publicist on the internet just scraping every site and deleting that
on YouTube.
Yeah.
What was the context of
Eagles fan heckles Joey Bosa?
Got it.
Joey Bosa is also a monster of a man. So
yes, he is.
It's kind of crazy that yeah. Yeah, the power slapping, Spence, you got to look that up. Dana White, he started that. Maybe he's going to get kicked out of the UFC for his altercation that he's had with his wife. But it's just you stand there and you get slapped until someone gives up, essentially.
Or gets knocked out.
Yeah.
You
okay, I see the shoes. Yeah.
Yeah. They're good. They're good.
They do look like the Austin Powers. That's fucking wild.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I'm behind the times here, folks.
It's okay. It's okay. We're here to bring you up to speed. I'm going to point out the blatant misogyny of you two. Only thinking of male siblings. I'm going to go with the Williams sisters,
The
Venus and Serena.
Shit. Well done, dude.
Hey, Venus and Serena are definitely GOATs as well. They just have been out of the limelight for too long. That's the problem. Like, Eli and Peyton are still in the limelight. I would definitely go. They're great siblings.
27 Grand Slams. I mean, just unreal from a sibling standpoint.
They have to be probably the most accomplished siblings, right? I mean, across all sport.
The winningest. Yeah.
Were they better before or after Will Smith became their dad?
That's a great movie, though, by the way.
It is a good movie. Will Smith. Will Smith is just a great actor.
He won an Oscar for that after, speaking of slap fights, after he slapped the shit out of Chris Rock. He still won the Oscar. We've come full circle here. We've come full circle.
Oh, I just saw I was watching that was so good.
You're trying to think of how I could tie that in, and you just crushed it.
Got it.
I was just watching that movie Amsterdam, which I guess is like one of the biggest flops of all time. But Christian Bale's the star of it. He's very good. You should check that movie out. But Margot Robbie's in it, and these just weird photos of Margot Robbie and Will Smith just like surfaced all over the internet of them like partying randomly, and it kind of ties back to like the open relationship that Will and Jada have. So just a random also tie in there. Go look those photos up. It's like early Margot Robbie days.
Oh, I'll check it out. I do love
Spicy.
Margot Robbie. All right, so we brought it full circle. We brought it all together. I appreciate your inputs on the question of the day. For any listeners out there, if you want to post your favorite sibling duo, fictional or real, in sports, leave it in the comments on the YouTube, or hit us up on Spotify, DM us on Instagram at the Fanstitution. So, gentlemen, championship weekend. Gonna be honest, little disappointed with some of the games. Just not the fireworks that I was expecting. But we can break each one down. Let's start with the NFC Championship, the Philadelphia Eagles against the San Francisco 49ers. 49ers, Brock Purdy's, Cinderella story came to a crushing end. We got to see Josh
As predicted
Johnson
by the
play.
beard.
As predicted by the beard. We got to see Josh Johnson play for his 14th team in 13 years. He now spans the NFL, the XFL, the USFL, and probably some league we don't even know about. Definition of a journeyman. Lasted 3 snaps and got concussed. And it was pretty much over from there. Beard, what do you think about the game? What do you think about the results?
Oh man, Josh Johnson is no Chad Henne. That's what I think about that. You know, he's just not that guy. There's a couple things that really pissed me off about that game. One, now that we know, I don't know if you both saw today, but Purdy's UCL is torn. So he literally there was no chance he was going to throw the ball, and they knew that. Yeah, they knew that, and they put him back into the game. You have no shot at winning that game, putting him back into the game. Run a freaking Wildcat with C-Mac, or they have Jusic or whatever. He probably can't throw the ball, but, I mean, Kyle Shanahan is not getting enough, he's not getting enough crap this week for doing that. And if I'm a Niner fan, I'm pissed because C-Mac was killing it. You know, you could run that triple option with C-Mac and Debo, and you could probably get positive yards that way. And instead, everyone knew what was happening the whole time.
I don't know. That Eagles defensive line was nasty, man. I mean, I know C-Mac was still moving the ball, but in a Wildcat that you haven't practiced, I almost wonder if it was just, probably admitting defeat, because even if they win, who are they going to start in the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Well,
isn't their 4th string hurt too?
Yeah, Josh Johnson.
Yeah. So
no, Jimmy G's supposed to be back next week.
Well, that doesn't mean shit because they lost. So
yeah.
You know who is getting a lot of shit, which I don't understand, is fucking Jalen Hurts.
For what?
Everybody's like, "Oh, congratulations on beating the 3rd string quarterback and go to the Super Bowl. Wait until you play a real quarter." I was searching through the webs to try and find some cool pictures of him since he broke the fucking 15 touchdown rushing record for the year or whatever, and I was like, dude, kid's crushing it. And it was just a bunch of hate on Twitter. I was like, okay, sorry that he didn't throw 4 touchdown passes, or I guess any in the game, but I mean, he still managed the offense well. And I don't know, I just thought it was, somebody's always trying to shit on somebody. It's just, the internet's an interesting place.
I thought you were going to say that people were shitting on him for his rendition of Fly Eagle Fly at the end of the game. That's what I thought.
That would be deserved.
Yeah. Also, living in Pittsburgh, obviously I like Terry Bradshaw, but I felt like Terry Bradshaw was a little too aggressive in that interview. I don't know if you could go back and watch it. Jalen didn't want to be there, and Terry Bradshaw would not let it go.
Yeah, I think Terry might have had some victory sips.
Yeah.
In between. But yeah, it was awkward. It was a really awkward point. Yeah, Jalen did not look like he wanted to be there. He didn't look like he wanted to sing Fly Eagles Fly whatsoever. Like, that was absurd. What about the San Francisco D just getting chippy? What are your thoughts on that from a sporting perspective?
I personally love it. I mean, that the NFL has gotten so soft. It's like it's so painful to watch the NFL now. It's gotten so soft, and I love the NFL, but things have got to change. I love Trent Williams at the end saying F you to everyone and manhandling. Like, he threw a 200-pound man like he was like 15 pounds.
Like a child. That dude has to be concussed. He hit the ground so hard.
Yeah, dude.
I think, I don't know. I mean, you got to give it to San Francisco, Kyle Shanahan for making it this far with everything that they've gone through. I think at the end of the day, they just got outplayed, outcoached, outstrategized. I don't know. It was pretty. I don't know. It was disappointing. That was one of the more disappointing playoff games I can remember because I was really hyped for it, and it just ended in an absolute fizzle. And they didn't even hit the over.
Does Purdy lose his chance at the starting gig now? I mean, I'm sure if he tore his UCL, he's not going to be back at the start of next season.
I saw, who was it? Chase Daniels was posting online that he had the same injury, and it was like a 6-month recovery. So he might be. I think the problem with that injury is like you can't grip anything when it's torn. Like, you can't feel your fingers, and so if you lose that touch, it definitely changes the San Francisco quarterback room, right? If he's injured, we got Trey Lance, we got Jimmy G. I think they're just going to draft random D3 quarterbacks that can play wide receiver to stock on the team next year, and then have them just in case, given their bad luck. But yeah, I do think it's interesting, and I wonder where they go from here with their quarterback situation. I don't know.
I think it might be. I'm calling it now. It's going to be year 15 of Jimmy G, like being told they don't want him there, but then having to play him in some capacity, and then him just being ridiculously good looking on the sideline, and all of San Francisco fans loving him, but the team not liking him. Like, that's what's going to happen next year.
I completely agree.
I don't think there's a better looking man in all of professional sports than Jimmy G.
Ooh, that's
He's a good looking
question.
dude for sure. I don't know. That's a bold take, though.
Who's better looking? Who comes to mind that's better looking than Jimmy G?
Man,
I mean,
because he hits.
Tom Brady's pretty damn attractive. And the same trait. Oh, come on!
No.
Tom Brady looks like he's been sucking baby blood for the last 10 years, dude.
This year, the divorce took its toll. He lost a lot of weight, but you go back and you look at prime Tom.
We're talking about right now.
Oh, well, it's hard to beat Jimmy G.
I mean, he just straddles both spheres. He's got the peppered hair, so he's got the older look, little George Clooney, but he's still got a ridiculously, smoldering face on the sideline while he's sitting there with the clipboard. I mean, that's hard to beat.
Dude, Joe Cool, despite looking like Macaulay Culkin, is... when he's got his shades on and he's got the cigar in his mouth, that dude fucks.
He does fuck. He did not fuck this weekend, though. And also, I've always had a man crush on Eric Decker. That's a good-looking dude, too. And his wife's a smoke show as well.
Yep. Is he still playing?
I don't know.
No,
is he done? Okay, I guess he doesn't count then.
Done.
There's probably some fucking like Italian soccer players or tennis dudes that are up there with Garoppolo. I don't know.
Yeah. Sergio Ramos is like the ageless wonder from Spain.
Isn't he like 40?
Yeah, but he still looks good, dude. Spanish guys age well.
Yeah, they do. It's all the red wine and pussy. Sorry, do we have to edit that out? My bad.
we might need to cut that one.
It's not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere. It's staying. Any other thoughts on that just fizzle of an NFC championship game, or are we just ready to move on?
Now we can move on. I missed the entire first half too, so
Great.
The one piece to that, not related to that game, but going back to I think a point I made maybe on the first episode or maybe when we were shooting the shit, like Devontae Smith has been unlocked as what I like call a wide receiver 1.5.
Yeah.
He's not a true one, and there's
But he's
very
not a
few
two.
ones in the NFL, but he's not a two. It's like T. Higgins.
Yeah.
Same thing. I think like NFL teams are going to need that wide receiver 1.5, and they should start making contracts for those guys too. Literally saying you are a 1.5 receiver and you're going to get X amount of dollars for that. But Devontae Smith last year before A.J. Brown was not that good. This year, he's fully unlocked. Wide receiver ones need to be paid big money.
I completely agree. And you see it there because they bring value to the other receivers now, right? Because now you've got to cover multiple people. It opens up the offense. It makes the defense think twice about who they're putting on what, lockdown corners, etc.
Yeah.
I think both of them need to get paid for the value that they bring, right? Because they're not going to be – I mean, if you've got a 1 and a 1.5, they're not going to be putting up the same stats as if it's just like back in the Lions days with Matt Stafford throwing to Megatron, Calvin Johnson, just huck it up and catch, right? That doesn't exist anymore. So now you've got to kind of spread that wealth around. I completely agree. I think the Seahawks are another good example. That is the homer in me. But between DK and Tyler Lockett, right, you've got to think twice now about who you're covering on the field, and that just opens everything up.
Yeah, and transitioning into the Bengals game, I mean, Jamar Chase, I think they set a stat last night that he gets double teamed on like 80% of his routes, and he still gets catches. That's insane.
It's wild. He's so freaking good. The Bengals, they showed up. I don't think they necessarily lost that game as much as probably the Chiefs won it. Be interested to see your thoughts. Obviously, the Bengals went into what they was previously referred to as Burrowhead Stadium. It came down to the last second, basically. Some dumb plays, some weird officiating calls. But at the end of the day, that Harrison Butker field goal was the deciding difference. Stache, what are your thoughts on Bengals Chiefs?
I mean, I was disappointed because I wanted Joey B to go to back-to-back Super Bowls and hopefully win one this time, but that's obviously not happening. I do say, though, while we talked about the Eagles winning last week when we were on here, winning the whole thing, I feel like Mahomes is destined to win this year. You can shake your head all you want, but when we have this chat in a couple of weeks.
I agree. I just hate it. I can't keep getting away with this. It's
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, dude. Balling out with a high ankle sprain that usually takes people like 6 to 7 weeks to recover from. And I just, we talked about the MJ effect last time we all met. And if that wasn't some MJ playing a hurt in whatever series that was back in the day, then, I don't know what is. It was a great game, though, man. I mean, down to the wire, entertaining, especially if you didn't have a dog in the fight back and forth. A little disappointed, but whatever. It's the NFL. I'm not invested in it, except for the 2-player props that I struck out on for tailing the beard.
Oh man, had to hit me with that. It's funny because Romo called it before the game. He said that Mahomes being hurt will make him play more conservative, and more conservative might be better for him. And sure enough, dude, I swear to God that Romo's got to be from the future. And he's just like fucking with us because he calls this shit all the time, and it drives me nuts. Also, did you see he almost let an N-word slip on air?
No, I didn't catch that.
It's all over the web. Yeah.
Oh,
it's everywhere. Yeah.
What was the context?
Someone, I think it was that Pacheco. However you say it. Pacheco's when he caught that pass. He caught the screen. He went for like 20 yards, and they were doing a replay on it. And Romo he broke a tackle. Romo said something, and then he said and then he said in, and then he stopped, and then he said something else. And there's like a bunch of reaction videos online about it right now.
Oh, I gotta find that. I do think Romo's from the future. Every time I hear him call a game and like see these plays, it makes me wonder like how good he could have been had he not been on the Dallas Cowboys. Yeah, like because he can see the field, he can see the game, he knows what needs to be done. I don't know.
I think it's more how good he would have been if he didn't break his back, dude.
That helps too.
This brings an interesting thought. If he's this good and from the future at predicting, then perhaps a very interesting live betting strategy would be to play off what he's talking about and hammer some potential player props or anything that could tie to what he's saying.
You got to be quick with it though, right? Because I mean that's a matter of seconds. But no, that's a really interesting strategy.
You could probably get one or two a game though.
Yeah, we should try that next season.
Yeah.
The Romo Damas. I like it. The Romo Damas plays.
Trademarks. Patent pending.
Done.
Yep. Shirt coming out next week. The Romo Damas.
Romo Damas. So Valdez Scantling.
Oh, God.
I had never heard of. Caught 6 passes and a touchdown and 115 yards. And where did that guy come from?
You know who's heard of Valdez Scantling? Every person that's bet on the Packers for the last 10 years on overs on the Packers specifically. He's literally dropped a wide open bomb from Rodgers probably 30 times in his career. I bet if you YouTubed dropped passes, Marquez Scantling, there's probably a 15-minute video of all the drop passes that dude has.
Well, that explains why I've never heard of him, because I hate the Packers.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a hell of a game. Burrow had a hell of a game. Higgins had a hell of a game. It was, at least that one was fun to watch. But what about the officiating? The redo on third down. I mean, what are your thoughts?
I mean, it was easy to get flustered about it because I was rooting for the Bengals. But at the same time, unless I missed a little bit, none of it really actually had an impact. Except for the late hit, but he did hit him late to set up the field goal. But that drive, where it was 3rd and 9, like 67 times in a row, they didn't end up getting any points off that, did they? They ended up punting, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
so it was kind of a wash. I mean, it was frustrating to watch, but it didn't have an impact on like the outcome of the game, so I can be okay with it. There's nothing worse than when fucking refereeing impacts the outcome of the game. Because then you have all the what if stuff that goes on, and it's like, okay, you know, I don't think that this game was on the refs at all. So
the same thing happened to the Bengals, except they were the beneficiaries. Last year they were playing the Raiders, and the play was blown dead, but not everybody heard it, and they ran it, and the Bengals scored a touchdown, and a bunch of Raiders players were like, "You blew it dead," and they like conferred, and then they were like, "Yeah, tough shit, Bengals score." So I don't know. There was some questionable officiating in both of the games. I would say maybe it's the NFL's too soft these days.
I mean, the most questionable call in all of professional or all of NFL playoff history is the Brady fumble. I forget what game that was from.
The tuck rule?
Yeah. I think is it the tuck rule? In the snow.
Yeah. Tuck rule against the Raiders, I think.
Yep, against the Raiders.
So there's a lot of conspiracies out there. You guys already know I'm a conspiracy theorist.
Oh God.
I can't wait.
I'm just saying there's partnership with gambling companies with the NFL now. We've got refs, we've got storylines of Mahomes coming back from injury. I don't know. You think that influences the calls that they make? Do you think that there's a home team favorite maybe, right? In front of the home crowd, they get some calls. I don't know.
I mean, there's always a home field advantage. That's why that term exists, right? But I go back to my previous statement of I didn't see anything that was like outlandish that had an impact on the actual result of the game.
Yeah.
Personally, I mean, from my opinion.
I think Kansas City, and maybe this is also me betting bias, but if Kansas City's always pretty loose with their calls and usually in favor of Kansas City, Ever since I watched that documentary, this is a good plug for Netflix. If you've watched a documentary about the ref that was fixing games in the NBA, it is a great documentary, but it shows how easy it is for these guys to actually influence the game. I think you might be onto something, Boyd. That might be a legit conspiracy theory that actually has some validity to it.
Listen, Spencer, I don't want your level-headed takes. I want you to come in here and say the game is fucking rigged. The refs had money on it. Pete Rose deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. That's what I want from you.
You will get that from me next year when Tennessee football is back on air.
Fair enough. No, It was interesting. You know, at the end of the day, Chiefs won. Mahomes is magic. He sold his soul to the devil for the skill to play football, and my lord, is it paying off?
Does it recalibrate your take on the Super Bowl winner, Beard? That's my question.
No.
It doesn't. You stand by the Eagles.
No.
You're flying with the Eagles.
I can't wait to talk about this next week because we're not going to talk about Super Bowl picks this week, but there is no way. No, it's good. There's no way. In my opinion, there's no way that Kansas City wins next week, especially once the injury report comes out. Dude, if they have no healthy receivers, there's no way. No way.
Very interesting.
Also, wait, hold on, real quick. Does Patrick Mahomes change the game of football because he has all those weird angle throws that he does and all this crazy shit the way that Steph Curry changed basketball? Our little kids growing up throwing these weird sidearm magician plays. Yeah.
That's actually a really good point. And I was thinking about it last night as I was watching Patrick Mahomes make shovel pass and sidearms. And I was almost wondering why, going back to the previous game, why didn't they have Purdy do some shovel passes, right? Or at least like a pitch and toss. He's not throwing it, but like give him something. If Patrick could do it, you know, Brock can do it, right? No, not at all. No. That's a good question. You know, when I was a kid, it was, you know, Steve Young, Dan Marino, you wanted to throw the deep ball. I wonder if those kids on the playground now are running sidearms and no-look passes, and it'll be interesting to see. I haven't seen it, like, bleed into the college game as much yet. But that doesn't mean...
thing is like, you know, money is starting to rule sports all the way down to the college level, right, with NIL deals. So, in the end, players don't want to be good anymore. They want to be entertaining. Just like in the NBA, they want to be three-point shooters because it's entertaining. So if I'm trying to get an NIL deal, I'm throwing all this crazy shit on the playground, figuring that out because it's going to get me noticed online.
It's an interesting take.
It's an interesting take.
I should be on ESPN, man. Sign me up.
I think there's definitely some validity to that, but I think when it comes down to pure competitors and people that want to win, which I believe fundamentally that there will never be a shortage of, that shit doesn't fucking matter. And if you have the right coach and management in place, they don't give a shit either, because winning sells tickets and fills out stadiums too. So that is my take on it.
It's a solid take. Beard, you mentioned Mahomes building his Kansas City empire.
Yeah, I think at this point, this is another interesting kind of tangential thing. Mahomes got that massive contract and immediately started investing in every like sports team known to man in Kansas City. And if you take it one layer deeper, I think he's with the Royals and he's with Sporting FC. And we talked about last week how soccer in the U.S. actually has a pretty decent fan base, which I did not know. And then his wife, who everyone hates, and his brother.
His brother's a
who everyone hates more.
Who everyone hates more. So two of the most hated people in Kansas City paired with the most loved person in Kansas City. That is a very interesting dynamic. But she's invested in a bunch of sports teams too. So pretty much Mahomes and his wife are like own all of Kansas City at this point.
It's interesting.
I did not realize that. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, Kansas City used to, I don't know if it still does, but it used to have a big mob presence. Wonder if he's in with the mob.
I haven't seen
Interesting.
Jackson Mahomes in a long time, so maybe the mob already took him out.
Goodness. All right, boys. Well, again, not a ton to recap this week. Unfortunately, it wasn't as exciting, but there's your Super Bowl matchup. Kansas City Chiefs against the Philadelphia Eagles 2 weeks from yesterday in Arizona. We're going to save our picks and discussion for the Super Bowl for next week. We're going to talk about the matchups. We're going to get a player prop special from the Beard. And then we're going to share our favorite Super Bowl memories as well. So make sure you tune in next week. But before we wrap tonight, let's just do a quick gambling week recap. Beard, you are 7-6.
I hit the anytime touchdowns, and as the Stache called me out earlier, I did not hit my anytime touchdowns this week. So killed it on traditional props. Absolutely shit the bed on anytime touchdown props.
And really, the onus is on me for that because I don't think I've bet NFL since September, and I decided to dabble because I'm hooked up with the new bookie, and I sunk you because I am the NFL mush, and it's always been that way and always will be. So,
I definitely
lesson learned.
I felt
I won't
that
be betting
mush.
on the Super Bowl. Yeah,
I too went 0-3 on the weekend for NFL picks. I was tailing the Beard. Spence jumped in. The one thing I didn't tail was just an absolute dog shit. Anyways, I do want to celebrate 1-0 in college basketball this weekend.
thank you.
The Stache came through clutch with a battle of the UTs, Tennessee versus Texas. He took the over. I took the over and parlayed it with the money line on the real UT, the University of Tennessee, for a juicy little parlay there. So that was the one shining spot on the rest of my otherwise abysmal gambling. Really weak. I didn't do well this week. It was kind of ugly.
Yeah, I'll try and put out a couple of college basketball picks every weekend. I used to actually watch a lot of college basketball with my dad back in the day, and it was fun having a little. I didn't have any money on it, but having my name associated with a pick, a little more invested in the game. Obviously, it's our team. It's always nice when you can have some good statistics and your team all wrapped up into one game. You got the passion, the money, the reputation. It was fun. So we'll try and do a couple more next weekend too, and see a lot of upsets in college basketball this weekend.
Yeah, the
It was a
SEC
good weekend.
got worked pretty hard by the Big.
The Big 12, they did.
We've got some pretty good college basketball action going now on the Slack page. So if you like college basketball, join the Slack. Shoot us a DM, and we'll get you the invite for the Slack. We got our buddy in there that's a huge Big 12 fan, giving some decent picks. So jump on in there if you guys want to. Last thing, since we got a little bit of time, Beard, I want to talk about this Reddit NBA Defensive Player of the Year saga. So I woke up Saturday morning. I was doing my morning constitutional, reading Reddit, and the top of my page was a conspiracy theory that the Memphis Grizzlies were padding the home stats of Jaren Jackson Jr., heretofore known as Triple J. He had some statistics to back it up that home versus away, he was averaging like double the blocks. And he inferred that maybe the Memphis stat keepers were being generous with what would be considered a block for the NBA. He was, at the beginning of the year, I want to say like a plus 900 to win the Defensive Player of the Year on the sports books. He'd since gone and moved to negative 230 when the user posted it. This post exploded, right? It was all over Twitter, it was all over the internet, to the point that Caesars Sportsbook actually stopped taking bets on the Defensive Player of the Year for about 4 hours. Caesars shut it down because it was just going so hard. Come to find out, that Reddit user was absolutely full of shit. And anybody who knew a damn about basketball went back and checked the stats. They watched the videos. It turns out Triple J is just really good at home. So now there's a conspiracy that maybe this poster was trying to move the lines to try to get it back into positive. or move some other players' lines so they could get good value on it. Very much an internet-centric discussion, but what do you guys think about that? It was fun to watch. It was fun to watch and fun to watch it implode.
First off, who in the hell has the time to be looking at the Defensive Player of the Year thing and create a conspiracy around the award that no one gives a shit about? Like, the NBA is an offense-forward league, and you were talking of how much game tape did this dude have to watch to find these random pieces to correlate to someone mixing? It makes no sense.
Maybe there's a plot twist, and it was the professor all along with one more fucking quill in his hat for the old...
We know the professor loves long odds. He probably dropped that on one night.
It's a conspiracy only spells out one thing: the professor, baby.
That's a fact.
What's the name of the Reddit user?
I think
the student. Is it the student 2235?
Maybe.
Small dick, huge balls.
You know what? That's probably the most valid point to be made on this whole thing. Beard is. Who has that kind of time? I never even considered that. I never even thought that. That never went through my head, but you're spot on.
It's literally the award, no one watches the Oscars anymore, but there's those awards that they give out outside that is, not even aired on TV. That's what the Defensive Player of the Year award is. It's an award that they give out randomly, and no one gives a shit about that person.
It's not televised at the awards ceremony.
No.
It's while you were gone.
They give him an IOU for the statue or for the trophy, and he never gets it. He never gets that trophy.
Oh my god!
Oh, dude.
Speaking of going back to bets a little bit, Beard, didn't you hit a few more parlays this week that we need to celebrate with everybody?
Yeah, I've been on an absolute heater. 3 days in a row I hit big parlays. The first one, obviously, we talked about last podcast. Actually, 4. It's been 4 of the last 6 days I've hit big parlays. Netting close to 10 grand, which is incredible. The last day I got a little too ballsy and pivoted my whole earnings onto a plus 500 play like an idiot and lost it all. So 1,700 on a bet, 10 o'clock, going to bed, a little tipsy. I'm like, whew, this looks good. Terrible play. It was I missed by 30 points. It was fucking terrible.
Oh,
that was
buddy.
big time mullet vibes right there, man.
Yeah,
big time mullet
big
vibes.
Time. That's the mullet.
We gotta get the mullet on here. So for people who aren't in our Slack channel, we got a UFC guy, we got an NHL guy, we got college basketball, completely free. But if you have not watched the mullets video, sponsored by George Washington himself, and you are missing out on some pure gold.
Oh, yeah, we got to get him on. UFC, the next UFC is coming up. Let's see if we can get him on.
You know what, Boyd? Sub us out, and just you and him do a chat about the big fight, which is the Volkanovski versus Islam fight. I think that's in a month. That is a good one to do a
He'll be
podcast
back
with.
from the school he's in, too, so that'll be perfect.
That's the one to do with him.
We'll get that
Okay.
set up. So, all right, gents. That's all I've got for tonight's pod. It's been fun. Looking forward to the Super Bowl recap next week. I think that's going to be a real good time. Tune in so you can get some juicy player props from the Beard. And maybe I'll have another conspiracy theory for you guys next week.
Yep. Remember, everybody, thou shalt come.